This is the gospel according to John, chapter 9. As Jesus walked along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. We work the works of the one who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread it on the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. Then he went and washed and came back able to see. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, "Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg?" Some were saying, "It is he." Others were saying, "Nah, but it is someone like him." He kept saying,
"I am the man."
But they kept asking him, "Then how are your eyes opened?" He answered,
"The man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' Then I went and washed and received my sight."
They said to him, "Where is he?" He said,
"I don't know."
They brought to the Pharisees the man who had formerly been blind. Now, it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisees also began to ask him how he had received his sight. The man answered,
"He put mud on my eyes, then I washed, and now I see."
Some of the Pharisees said, "This man isn't from God, for he doesn't observe the Sabbath." But others said, "How can a man who is a sinner perform such signs?" And they were divided. So they said again to the blind man, "What do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened." He said,
"He is a prophet."
The Jews didn't believe that he had been born blind and received his sight, until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight and asked them, "Is this your son, who you say had been born blind? How then does he now see?" His parents answered, "We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But we don't know how it is that he now sees, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him, he is of age. He will speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jews, for the Jews had already agreed that anyone who confessed that Jesus was the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. Therefore his parents said, "He is of age. Ask him." So for the second time they called the man who had been born blind, and they said to him, "Give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner." He answered,
"I don't know whether he is a sinner. One thing I do know is then I was blind, but now I see."
They said to him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered them,
"I have told you already, and you wouldn't listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?"
Then they reviled him, saying, "You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken through Moses, but as for this man, we don't know where he comes from." The man answered,
"Here is an astonishing thing. You don't know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but God does listen to the one who worships him and obeys God's will. Never since the world began has it been heard, has anyone opened the eyes of a person born blind. If this man weren't from God, he could do nothing."
They answered him, "You were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us?" And they drove him out. Jesus heard that they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered,
"And who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him."
Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking to you is he." He said,
"Lord, I believe."
And he worshipped him. Jesus said, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and that those who do see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees near him heard this and said to him, "Surely we are not blind, are we?" Jesus said to them, If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now that you say, we see, your sin remains. This is the gospel of the Lord.